Hey world, how are you? How's everybody doing? Welcome. So, um, I just want to share with you some things I've learned in life, especially with learning from God, what's on my life, my identity, the functions of it, the office of it, and understanding His creation, how He created things. One thing I want to share with you is this to encourage you. This is just to encourage you. This is to uplift you and to push you to no longer just go into things with your eyes wide shut with adults. The reason why I'm specifically saying adults is because that's the main problem in this world. It's not the universe. It's not the youth. It's adults. Because we have free will. And the majority of adults are the reason why the world is so messed up like it is, whether in church or out of church. Both are guilty. Okay? So with that being said, I just came to give you some food, some mental food for thought. I will share with you from my heart to yours what I've learned in life that God has taught me. Guard my heart. Your heart is right here. You can Google it. Okay? Everything is at our fingertips. Technology. Guard your heart. What do you need to guard your heart with? Common sense, love, healing, deliverance, understanding, comprehension, God's wisdom, understanding, as I've already said, the word of God and the armor of God, the breastplate of righteousness. You need to guard your heart with those things, with revelations, okay? And with that being said, keep your heart off your sleeve. Stop being naive. Stop expecting things from adults. I've learned that in life too. Love does not expect. It anticipates itself. Love is not a fool. Yes, we forgive people. That does not mean they should stay in your life. You should stay married to them. They should stay your best friend. They should be in your wedding. Okay? Jesus was not a fool. Go back and study Jesus Christ. Study your homeboy Jesus, your brother Jesus, your best friend Jesus, your ace boon coon Jesus. Go study him. He is love, but he was not a fool. God bless you too. Welcome everybody. I'm just sharing with you all things I've learned from God and his wisdom and understanding. Okay? I want to say to you from my heart to yours. Look, let me tell you something. Things I've learned about adults in life. It doesn't matter if they're in ministry or not. What's in their hearts it can be so deceitful and wicked that God even said the heart is eternally deceitful. Who can understand it? Meaning God knows our heart. I come to tell you, I don't care if they're an apostle. I don't care if they're in ministry. I don't care how well they're known in the world. I don't care if they're hip hop artists, whoever. Stop going by the surface of the flesh of adults. I'm saying adults on purpose because, again, the animals are not the problem. The universe is not the problem. Youth are not the problem. The problem is us adults. 98% of adults are the problem, whether in ministry or out of ministry. Because of our free will. A lot of us start out good in our adulthood, especially with God. But then somewhere along the line, we become so knowledgeable. We start getting research on stuff to where we start getting perverted with pride, haughtiness, cockiness, arrogance, lust, the flesh, carnality, you name it. And we start getting beside ourselves. I've come across, when I tell you my life, they both are neck and neck. People in ministry, starting with spiritual leadership, and people outside of ministry who are just, their hearts are so evil and wicked and religious and carnal. Let me tell you, I'm a living witness. Since I can remember, since I was little, being brought up in religious churches, I've had just as many people in church mishandle and mistreat me just like in the world. No difference, because the heart is what matters with God. One thing I've learned in life is you need to start letting God help you and open your eyes to see into people's heart. The way you see into people's heart, look at how they treat you. Listen to their vocabulary. Pay attention to their body language and eye contact with you. Pay attention to when you have an emergency crisis and money is involved, or if you need a place to stay, or if you have a need or a crisis. Test them on purpose. Reach out to help to that apostle, that bishop, that elder, that deacon, that man of God, that woman of God. Test them. I lovingly encourage you to do it. and you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, let me tell you, I'm a living witness. I've had so many people, even in ministry, I reached out for help, even on social media. People purposely left me to die, and that's a quote unquote, that's an expression, not literally, but their actions. Their thing was, their actions told me by the way of God's Spirit, better you than me, those your shoes to wear, I'm praying for you. We don't help people out in that way. You're not a member of our church. Even if you're a member, you have to be here 6 months, and then we decide, our church is limited. Stuff like that, or did you check out with the people where you're at? Not realizing they so religious minded. God is sending me to them on purpose to test them. God has a way of testing us. One thing I've learned in life is anytime people pray to God, adults, he tests them by sending someone else that has an emergency crisis to see if they're going to help them and to show them what's really in their heart. And are they deserving of their prayer being answered, of their emergency being, released and handled by God, of their heart's desires being released. So I come to tell you with love, one thing I've learned in life with adults is that it's on you. What I've learned to do in my life, what God has taught me, guard this heart. What are you guarded with? Healing. Let God heal you from what you've been through with adults, whether in ministry or not. Let God heal you from what you've been in your childhood, that bled over into your adulthood, that caused you to have an issue of blood with your heart. Because I'm telling you now, it does not matter if an adult is in ministry or not. They're in that flesh and they have free will. It don't matter if they're an apostle, a pastor, a bishop, deacon, elder, man of God, woman of God, an entrepreneur, whateverpreneur, it does not matter. God is looking at our hearts, including mine. That's what matters. Because we're all going to have emergencies, needs, and crises. And when you have those moments, it's going to expose what's in everybody's heart. And that's what God looks at. So what I've learned, there are different types of people. I've noticed in life with adults, there are people who are in the position to help, whether it be physically, naturally, financially, with a place to stay, or releasing of a possession, a vehicle, whatever, clothes, you name it. And they will purposely, whether in ministry or not, push you and shove you to somebody else, or say, I don't know of anybody that can help you, and be connected to other entrepreneurs or other wealthy people or people who do get it, and it just cracks me up, because I've come across even people in church who would say, oh, our funding, we don't have enough funding. But you have brains. You're in ministry. You're leadership. Y'all don't got dollars to put together and Cash App and PayPal that soul. You can't do that. And then I've met people that's also in ministry who will push you back to the world and say, let the government help you. They'll say, have you asked the resources out there in your neighborhood or your community? Why? That just hurts the souls. It butchers souls, because their thing is they're trying to come to the church, who's supposed to be in position where the world's government system is in position. They're supposed to be anchored in God in that way, so that souls don't have to go to evil, wicked doors in the government system and be bound to their demonic way of doing things. But I've noticed that too, you'll see it in the Bible. It's nothing new. And so you'll see where even certain spiritual leadership, instead of them choosing to be accountable in ministry and be the extension of God, what they do is they misrepresent God, a lot of them really, and push you back out there to the world and say, let them take care of you. So what God showed me with that, he said, that's like a negligent parent who chooses to have sex and get pregnant and have a child, but don't want to be accountable and do the responsible thing for that seed. They don't want to train them up in the way they should go. They don't want to love them or be loved to them. So they do what? Push them to electronics, throw them on Beyonce or Jay-Z, throw them to Cardi B or Megan Thee Stallion or Drake, or they'll throw the child out there to the world, to the streets, to other kids who is bad company for them. And then they wonder why the teachers keep calling them. Why this happening? Why the child in jail on a court case about to go to jail for life and they're only 14? You didn't be accountable and mature and responsible. You didn't choose to. So that's the analogy and revelation God gave me with those that's in ministry and spiritual leadership. That's what many have come and are starting to do now. And I've realized that behind the scenes, as I'm learning and looking at stuff, as I'm helping people as well, it's just interesting. It's sad, but that's what the religious do. And that's why Jesus, God hates religion. It's a form of God, but it denies the power. So what I come to share with you, I want to suggest to you to start doing is, I encourage you, whatever you do when it comes to us adults, please, for the love of God, stop having your heart on your sleeves. Stop thinking because we're in ministry or because a person is in the world and an entrepreneur and they're financially stable or they got what you need, that they have the heart that they need to have of love. Most adults do not choose to be loved. Most of those hearts, whether in ministry or not, is so evil and wicked and selfish. It's about them. They're glad they're not in your shoes. It's better you than them. And their thing is they'll toss you to someone else, And so this is why I encourage you. I'm sharing to you what I've learned in life. One thing God has taught me is guard this heart. Don't guard it with bitterness. Do not guard it with hate, alt, or grudge. Take time out. There's no time frame on it. Take time out. I encourage you, go back to God. Let him help you to heal and understand that these adults, we have free will. And there's reasons why people choose to be the way they do, whether it's right or wrong, or evil, demonic, satanic, or religious. You just have to sit down and let God minister to your heart. First, your mind, your thoughts, the traumas of what they did. Because that's another thing, too, I've learned about most adults, whether they're in ministry or not. They don't care. Most of them don't even care how their actions affected your life. By them throwing you and tossing you over there, by them purposely ignoring your Facebook message, by them purposely misjudging your situation, all because they got it, or because some of them still healing, and so it's a choice to let God heal us from what we've been through with each other in adulthood, and also in our childhood that caused us to have trust issues with helping people, because God is testing us all with helping each other as adults. When you pray to God, when I pray to God, he's going to say, okay, I heard you. You made your point. Now I'm going to send you somebody who got a more severe crisis. Help them first. That's just the way it goes. God is just not going to give you what you need and want until you help somebody else and love your neighbor as yourself, meaning not just the person next door, but those who are all around you when you go out doing what you do, being about your business, take care of your household, trying to pay your bills. 9 to 5, whatever you're doing. He's saying, yeah, but help the person next to you. Take care of their bill. Give them that car. Wire them that money. Cash out them. MoneyGram, Western Union, PayPal them. Meet their need. Be the sacrifice. You're asking me for something. I'm requiring you to do that something for that person. That's how God is. You come to God and then he presents you with what he wants you to do, what it's going to take, the conditions of that, of what you need met in your prayers. That's how it goes. Okay, so that's what I've learned in life. And then I've learned too that there's a lot of good-hearted people who are in process. They're neutral. They're not evil and wicked in their heart. They're trying not to become like the adults who mishandled them, who hurt them, that they trusted and helped because they have their heart on their sleeves, which could be you. I used to be that person. So they're neutral. They're not evil and wicked. They're not. They're hurting. They have a bleeding heart. So they at the moment, they're not able to help you. They're not, because their heart is so much hemorrhaging, going into cold blue ICU. They want to help, but because of how their heart done already been jabbed by the wrong people in life and ministry, out of ministry, they just can't help you. So what I suggest you do for those type of adults, please pray for them. Please pray for them, because we already have enough cold-hearted, evil, wicked hearts in the world concerning adults in ministry and out of ministry. So we don't need any more added. So that's what I've learned in life is, number one, remember, the universe, animals, the youth is not the problem in this world. They never will be. They in the midst of the gunfire concerning adults. Adults are the problem to this world. Adults is the root. That's the root, because of our free will and how we choose to treat each other when we have an emergency or crisis or need. Number two, do not expect people to choose to do what's right by God or by you when you have an emergency or a crisis or a need. Stop expecting that. Love does not expect. If the Lord is leading you to reach out to them, pray. Let God lead you to who to ask for help, because faith without works is dead. And he said, ask and you shall receive. Seek and you will find. Let God lead you to the person, whoever they are, whether they're in church or not, and just trust God, because he's testing them. He's testing them. Okay? So, and that determines if they get what they need from God. All right? Number 3, let God take you through that process of being healed from people mishandling you and mistreating you that you trusted and that you helped from your childhood even into your adulthood. Because remember, there's a lot of good-hearted people in this world. I kid you not. And some of them still have a bleeding heart. But there's a lot of good-hearted people in this world. In spite of the negative, bad, evil, wicked people that you've mostly been around, there's a lot of good-hearted people in this world. I encourage you, number 3, let God help you to go through the process of forgiving people. Because forgiveness is a process in itself. It isn't no overnight thing. Now, some things you can forgive just like that because that really didn't go too deep in your heart. It didn't really cause that much bleeding from your heart. And it really didn't affect you like that. But certain things, when you have an emergency or a need and you was thinking this person was cool like that, that's different. If you had a great relationship with this person or they close to your heart, that's different. Okay? So I just wanted to be brief and share this from my heart to yours. Things I've learned in life. The universe, animals, and the youth are not the problem in this world. The majority of the adults are, because of their free will, how they choose to respond to others when they have an emergency, a need, or crisis. Number 2, do not expect things from people. Only expect from God. Put your faith and trust in God. Do not put your faith and trust and dependence or assurance in people. Don't do that. Don't do that. I've learned that years ago. Okay. Number 3, let God help you to keep the posture of forgiveness. Forgiveness, put on your armor, the armor of God that covers your heart is the breastplate of righteousness. Okay. That's number 3. Guard your heart. Guard your heart with God's healing, deliverance, understanding, comprehension, revelation, God's wisdom, and understanding. Again, guard your heart with those things, okay? Number 4, stop wearing your heart on your sleeves. Stop thinking even because people have a title or a degree or they're in ministry, man of God, woman of God, apostle so-and-so, pastor so-and-so, and they well known, that does not mean that they have a sound in the kingdom of God. It doesn't mean that they're actually pleasing God. It doesn't mean that they are loved. God knows our hearts, including mine. Number 5, ask God to expose people's hearts to you. Ask God to open your eyes to see and discern into people spiritually, beyond the surface of the natural flesh of them physically. Number 6, do not put everybody in the same basket because of the childhood you've had with people not being there for you and you helping folks being there for them and they was a vampire and leash to you. Everybody is not choosing to still be like that in adulthood. Let God heal you, and that's a process. Let God deliver you from the demonic captivity of bitterness, vindictiveness, revenge, retaliation, and toxic feelings and emotions. Let him heal you and deliver you. So that's what I've learned in life. I do not put my faith and trust in people. I'm so brutal in my mindset with adults. I don't care who they are. I don't care if they're a family member. I don't care if they're my parents. I don't care how well you're known in spiritual leadership and ministry. I don't care how well you're known in hip hop, R&B, whoever you are. I do not put nothing past you. You're capable of, with your free will, doing anything evil and wicked, and it's going to backfire on you. The reason why I know in my life things will backfire on people who refuse to help me, even when I have an emergency or crisis, because I choose to forgive them. I'm going to forgive them. I am. Because if you don't forgive other people, you're going to become worse than them. You're going to become more evil and wicked and toxic than them, more religious than them. So the wise thing is, I encourage you, let God help you to keep your posture of forgiveness. Go through that process. Take time to forgive these people. Take time to forgive them so that when God comes to deal with them in his timing, he won't have to deal with you too in his timing. Take time, keep that posture of forgiveness. Stay in that posture of healing, deliverance, and being free from becoming your own enemy by holding all and grudges against these people who God can deal with better than you and me. So that's what I want to share with you from my heart to yours. Things I've learned in life through God's wisdom, his Holy Spirit, his understanding through Jesus Christ, through God's word, and just by taking time to sit down and let God minister to me and self-reflect and show me what's the issues with them and what's the issues with me, and face it and embrace it so that I won't be my own enemy and not wear my heart on my sleeves. Don't put nothing past nobody. When God is showing and exposing to me their hearts, pray for them. Don't be a fool for them, and put them in a certain place in my life. Because when people cannot be trusted, and when you have an emergency, a need and crisis, and money is involved, that's when you're going to find out who is supposed to be in your life, who is supposed to be close to you, and who is not. Whether they're in ministry or not, it doesn't matter. God knows the heart. It's a heart thing with God. It's not a title thing with God. It's not a ministry thing with God. It's not a carnal thing with God. It's not none of that. It's the heart thing, the heart posture with God. So I encourage you with that. Let God help you with that. Just want to share those kingdom nuggets with you. Just want to share with you what I've learned from God myself, from spending time with him in private. Because spending time with God personally is not a corporate thing. It's a one-on-one. That's why it's called intimacy. Let God into you see. Let God into you see, and let him help you into him to see. Okay? So it's important. Don't expect nothing from people. Stop thinking because we in ministry or because we well known, whoever, that we will not do evil and wicked. Most adults, probably like 95%, do choose to be that way. And you find out who people actually are when you have an emergency, need, and a crisis, and when money is involved. Okay? That's when you find out who they actually are. That's the truth that comes out of them. All right? Pray for them. Don't become like them. Don't become worse than them. Don't despise them. Don't hate them. You can hate their ways. You can dislike their ways. But if you're going to choose to be loved, especially if you choose to serve God, you cannot choose to hate the vessel. Hate the ways, dislike their ways, but love the vessel. Don't be a fool for them. And if they shouldn't be in your life, don't let them be in your life. All right? If you have questions or comments for me, feel free. I'm Gabrielle. I love you all. Until next time.